Hello, I'm Rex Basterfield and I welcome you to a video about my Quilcom SIM-DIDGE. Now I imagine that somehow you've guessed that the SIM-DIDGE attempts to simulate a didgeridoo, or yidaki as it's called by the Aboriginal people of Australia. So a didgeridoo is basically a long wide bore tube which can be made of various types of wood or even PVC or cardboard. It's a drone instrument and the player will buzz their lips to hit the resonant frequency of the air column in the tube. Since it's a single pitch drone instrument, you can't actually play tunes on it, so no melodies. It should be thought of really as a rhythmic instrument, and the rhythm is made by changing the shape of the mouth to make various vowel sounds, altering the breathing, tonguing and so on in a rhythmic fashion. In addition to varying the breath and changing the mouth shape for vowels and so on, players often introduce vocalizations into the tube through their lips or directly. Traditionally this is through the lips while you're making the buzzing. Finally, the instrument itself can be tapped with a piece of wood to add some extra dimension to the rhythms. Now, like all my Sim series plugins, this uses synthesizer technology only and no samples, so the sounds are reminiscent, hopefully, of a didgeridoo, but in no way does it attempt to synthesize all the vocal aspects. For that you have a microphone input and a voice control here. So using a microphone into the voice input means you can make any sound you want to with the greatest of ease and make the performance truly your own. The SIM-DIDGE makes use of several keys on the MIDI keyboard to bring in different expressions and effects, and all the information is listed in the user guide as you would expect, but if you double click on the double question marks you get a reminder as to what key does what. Probably the most useful sound on the SIM-DIDGE is the vowel system. So if you start a drone playing and press the keys between middle C and A, including the black notes, you get different vowel sounds. You might have noticed there that the vowel keys are touch sensitive, so you can give an accent by pressing the key harder. You don't have to use the keys. You can use a continuous controller, such as the mod wheel, to provide a continuous change between the vowel sounds. Now, when you're using the keys for vowel sounds, you can adjust the slew rate, which is a portamento really between the various vowel sounds, which will smooth out the transition. For that demo I used the play button, so I could use my hands for other things rather than holding down C3, which is note 48. So you can turn it on and off there, or when you press C3 it will turn itself off anyway. And you get a slightly different sound when it turns off too, to add to the repertoire. There are two more controls for the vowels. One controls the resonance of the formant filters, and the other one the mix between the tube sound and the formant sound from the vocal cavity, which is a bit like choosing where you put the microphone if you're going to record a player. The tube knob is actually a macro, controls various elements, and it relates to the material that the tube is made from and the width of the bore. No two people will have the same, exactly the same lips and embouchure, so I've provided a control here for giving a range of sounds for the excitation pulse which comes from the lips. I mentioned tonguing before, so I provided a system for providing a short plosive sound which you create and initiate by holding C3 down and pressing or holding down the D above it, D3, and this can be a single sound or like an alifo, like a tongue buzz, and you can also synchronize the sound, the rhythm, to your DAW's BPM, so I'll demo that now. Something you'll often hear in a didge performance is what I've termed overblow. It's a short pulse of air made by contracting the diaphragm, so it's a huff sort of sound, and to do that you hold the drone on and you play the C-sharp 3. Also you can set up a rhythmic overblow synchronized to the DAW, so I'll demonstrate that now. So here we have controls for the mouth size, the size and the modulation of the resonant chamber, which affects the range of formants. The size control relates to the volume of the resonant chamber of the mouth, which will vary from person to person. In fact, this knob can go wildly beyond what is humanly possible. The other controls in the mouth section deal with modulating the mouth size. So we can, in free mode, we can set the frequency of modulation that we want. We can synchronize to the DAW. We can set the waveform type and the depth of modulation with the amount knob. So to get this mouth modulation, we need to hold down the key G3. So I'll demo that now. So how do didgeridoo players maintain a continuous drone? And the answer is called circular breathing. So they puff up their cheeks, close the glottis, take a sniff in through the nose very quickly, open the glottis and carry on blowing from the diaphragm. Now that can make a subtle change in the timbre, and if your microphone is close to the player you'll hear the sniff. So this sets the change of timbre and this alters the volume of the sniff. So with a drone playing you press key F# 3, and I'll demo that now, but you'll have to listen quite carefully to hear the effect. Now we come on to the voice input, microphone input, which allows us to add vocalizations to the sound. Now if we're playing the drone on its own, we can lip gate the sound of the vocalizations, so the sound goes through the lips. And if we are playing a drone and we press key F3, then we hear the voice directly into the tube, whether we've got a drone playing or not. So I'll demonstrate that now. Now, as I mentioned before, the didgeridoo rhythm is often accompanied by tapping the body of the didgeridoo with a piece of wood, tapping two sticks together, or maybe beating a drum. And this little section here is a complete separate synthesizer built in to the main instrument. So we can set the tone, which ranges from a drum sound through tapping the body of the instrument up to tap sticks. This sets the level, which is velocity sensitive, and here we have the usual rhythm generator where we can synchronize the beat to the DAW or set our own rate, and at any time we can create the tap sound by pressing E flat 3. Modern players sometimes create what they call a toot, which is doubling the frequency of blow. In fact, it's not exactly doubling it, to find the second partial resonance of the tube, and this is used as part of the rhythm. So we can adjust the actual frequency ratio here, which is normally slightly sharp due to the geometry of the tube and the physics and so on, so you can set the ratio there, and it's sounded by holding a drone and stabbing or pressing E3. When you hear didgeridoo performances recorded, you might notice that some sound quite bass heavy and others don't, and that will be based on the position of the microphone. If it's placed right at the end of the tube, in line with the tube, you get a lot of bass, but in a normal listening position you don't hear such heavy bass. So I've provided a bass cut control so you can set the bass balance as you wish. So that's the Quilcom SIM-DIDGE for you. There's lots more detailed information in the user guide, and if you're interested in the didgeridoo playing techniques, history, physics and so on, there's lots more information in the background info folder. So I hope you have a bit of fun and amusement with this, and I shall say until the next time, bye.
Yeah.